Hello, this is one of the videos ACBL is producing to explain changes in the laws that take effect in September 2017. I'm Tournament Director Doug Grove. I'm with Tournament Director Matt Smith, who is a member of the ACBL Laws Commission. The subject of this video is laws 61 through 64, all of those laws which deal with the revoke. There has been some change in terminology, and because revokes happen so often in tournament and club events, we want to make sure that we're all on the same page with those. They use the term non-automatic trick adjustment and automatic trick adjustments, which wording wasn't in the previous code. What does an automatic trick adjustment mean?
Okay, the automatic trick adjustments are, I think, what most of us are pretty comfortable with. If the side that revoked won no tricks from the trick of the revoke onward, there's no trick adjustment. If the side won one trick from the point of the revoke onward, and that's the only trick, there's a one trick adjustment. There is only a two trick adjustment when the player who revoked won the trick, and then their side won at least one more trick after that. So remember, it's the player who revoked, not just the side or who revoked that triggers the two trick
Gets
penalty.
us from one to
so
two tricks.
you rough a trick, win that trick, and your side later wins a trick. It's a two trick transfer at the end of the hand.
So none of those definitions have changed, but we now call those automatic trick adjustments.
They are automatic. I believe it's probably an attempt to make sure people understand that the director has no discretion in these things. These are automatic.
There's another section of the law that describes revokes that do not result in an automatic. They're called non-automatic trick adjustment revokes. Where are they in the laws?
They are located in 64B. Most of them, that whole section, most of it remains unchanged. Things like revokes on trick 12. Things like if attention is drawn to the revoke beyond the time when automatic penalties occur. For instance, they come to the director during the next hand or call the director during the next hand. It's too late for the automatic trick adjustments to kick in. But
okay, so there are times when these revokes that are not subject to an automatic trick adjustment still do not make the non-offenders whole. Or you may have a situation where the automatic adjustment does not yet make the offenders whole.
that's true. So
How do what part of the law gives us authority to deal with those, and how does that work?
this is Law 64C, which has been expanded to address a couple of particular cases, but the basics of it is the idea is still the same. It's designed to cover revokes where even if there is an automatic trick adjustment, it doesn't get the non-offending side back to where they would have been had there been no revoke at all. The classic example, of course, being where somebody revokes and wins the trick just to deprive declarer of an entry to dummy, and they lose several tricks that they could have cashed in dummy if this person had not revoked. The director is supposed to restore equity there. The equity refers to equity for the non-offending side, not the offending side. I think that's why the word automatic is in there, just to reinforce that idea. But 64C is for the non-offending side.
You mentioned that 64C has been slightly expanded. Can you delve into those expansions a little bit further and how they affect what we do?
Yeah, there are two cases that are talked about. One of them you'll probably never see, a director will probably never see in his career. I have yet to see it, and that is when both sides revoke on the same hand. So one of the non-automatic trick adjustments for that is number 7. It says there's no automatic trick adjustment if both sides have revoked on the same board and both revokes have become established. So it's possible that your revoke is a one-trick penalty and my revoke is a two-trick penalty. We're both non-offenders and offenders at the same time, but that in the application washing those revokes, which is what the law says you're supposed to do, there's no penalty for either one if we both revoked on the same hand, you got a noticeable advantage. You got something you didn't deserve. The law there now says When both sides have revoked on the same board and the director deems that a contestant has been damaged, he shall award an adjusted score based on the likely result had no revokes occurred. So yes, you're supposed to make them offsetting revokes, but you're still expected to protect any damage that might occur as a result of that. This one won't come up very often.
But I actually have had this come
You
up
have,
in my
all
career.
right, all right.
I have indeed.
Congratulations. The other one, which is more significant, I think, is there's no penalty for the second or third revokes in the same suit by the same player on the same hand. So it's not a one-trick penalty for your first revoke when you didn't follow to spades, and then another penalty for the second time you didn't follow to spades, and so on and so on. If it's a one-trick penalty, it's a one-trick penalty. There are some odd situations that might come up, however, and have come up, where after let's suppose you're revoking in spades. You're playing 4 spades, you revoke, and if you don't revoke after that, you're going to go down 1, and the one-trick penalty is going to make you down 2. But you revoke a second time in spades, let's say. And the scenario plays out that by doing that, you actually save a trick. So now you go down, you don't go down at all. The revoke penalty makes you down 1, the one-trick penalty. The new law on that in 64C 2A, says that you cannot profit from what would have happened by making the second or third revoke. So we go back to what would have happened after the first revoke had you not revoked again after that. So the correct adjudication there would be you would have been down, you went down, would have gone down 1, there would have been a one-trick penalty. Rectification on top of that, it should be scored as down 2, not as down 1.
And to make sure that we're clear here, these distinctions for equity are important for us to consider, but the garden variety revokes are still subject to just automatic penalty, and the director needs to focus on the 0, 1, or 2 first.
Yes, yes.
And then consider whether perhaps the equity clause would apply.
Right, and again, what I think is very important is to realize the equity clause refers to the non-offenders. It's designed to protect the non-offenders, not to protect the revoking side from losing a trick it never would have lost. That's the argument you hear, and it may be a valid philosophical argument to some, but it's not the law.
Thank you.